My favorite character in Borderlands 4 is Harlowe. Just the moment I saw her concept, I knew I was going to love this character and love building her. She's kind of super friendly and happy to be there and do science for you. She uses science to just blow all of the enemies out of the water. Harlowe's Cosmic Brilliance tree is all about affecting the battlefield with her Flux Generator. This action skill throws her Flux Generator into the environment, and any enemies inside of it become automatically entangled, sharing all damage they take, dealing constant cryo damage to everything inside of it. Additionally, Harlowe and her allies get overshield while they're inside of it, so it's something players can use offensively or defensively.
So what makes Harlowe's Flux Generator feel particularly awesome is that sense of battlefield control, in that you get to just throw something down, dish out extra battlefield damage, but also the generator itself gives you an ability to provide some ally support, both for yourself and your buddies that you're playing with. And this is my personal favorite. You can have it so that enemies that are within the vicinity of it completely lose all their elemental resistances, so being able to just be like, I don't want to deal with it. And then also getting a buff to your own status effect application, really nice to kind of try and melt them down.
Harlowe's Chroma Accelerator is her giant nuke action skill. This is her boss killer. This is the one where she fires a slow-moving projectile that moves through the environment, and then she can detonate it to make a giant radiation explosion. Harlowe's Creative Burst skill tree is all about using her Chroma Accelerator to deal insane amounts of action skill damage. She has one skill, Cue Ball, that turns her Chroma Accelerator into this bouncing ball that just bounces all over the environment, entangling enemies everywhere it touches and just dealing massive damage everywhere, along with freezing enemies in its path.
There's lots of little things in there that will augment them and change the way that they behave in some capacity. So like, you'll have one that makes it so that as it passes through enemies, it'll actually drag them along behind it, which is kind of neat. You can have it where you can extend its duration through causing radiation damage. It'll also allow you to buff your gun. You can get faster refunds so that you can use it more often as well.
Harlowe's Seize the Day skill tree is all about using Zero Point to control the battlefield. It can do everything from making massive singularities to draw all the enemies together, to slamming enemies down and creating giant cryo explosions to freeze enemies, or it can even slow down enemies as you critical hit them. Harlowe's action skill Zero Point is where she can bubble an enemy up into the air. She can slam them into exploding barrels to cause big explosions, or she can throw them into other enemies and just cause general chaos.
For Harlowe Seize the Day, this really focuses in on her stasis. Augments that you can expect to find in here will allow you to do things like ricochet shots off to other enemies that aren't in stasis. You can store damage, and whenever it's ready, it'll pop off a cryo explosion, things like that. You can also have it use healing bursts, which is great both for your own survivability or when you're playing with friends, keeping them up. One thing that I particularly think is really cool about it is when you kill an enemy, it will continue to bounce around to other enemies in the area. This does make it so that the duration on each of those bounces is a little bit shorter, but it's still really cool to see it bounce around and like capture enemies and keep that effect going.
I feel like every time we make a player character, there's always something we have to leave behind that sticks with me and I want to bring into future games. In Borderlands 3, I had to design an Amara skill to where she runs up, puts an enemy in phase grasp, and then kicks them into other enemies. We couldn't really do that in Borderlands 3, but with Borderlands 4, we get to do that with Harlowe, where she can pick up enemies and start flinging them into other enemies. I love that she has this giant disco ball of doom that she can send out into a battlefield and just nuke everything. I love that she has the Flux Generator that she can throw on the ground and either help her allies or debuff all the enemies. And I love her skill where she can bubble enemies into the air and then start slamming them into other enemies. That's something I've always wanted to make a character do in the Borderlands universe, and I finally get to.
So satisfying!